North Korea is one of the most secretive nations on Earth. Its tanks are rarely seen, rarely documented, and often misunderstood. This is the complete story of every tank North Korea has ever built or used. When the Korean War began in 1950, North Korea did not start as an armored innovator. It started as an armored borrower. What followed over the next 7 decades was a slow, deliberate evolution, from Soviet-supplied tanks to locally modified designs, and finally to domestically produced machines shaped as much by propaganda as by combat doctrine. Because of secrecy, parades, and limited real-world testing, North Korean tanks are often surrounded by mystery. But piece by piece, their story can be reconstructed. T-34/85. The story of North Korean tanks begins with the T-34/85. During the Korean War, this Soviet-designed tank formed the backbone of North Korea's armored forces. At the time, it was a proven design, reliable, well-armed, and highly mobile. Early in the war, the T-34/85 gave North Korean forces a clear advantage against lightly equipped opponents. Its 85mm gun and sloped armor made it deadly on the battlefield. However, as the war progressed and Western anti-tank weapons improved, its limitations became clear. Even so, the T-34/85 left a lasting impression. It established armor as a central pillar of North Korean military doctrine. IS-2 heavy tank. Alongside the T-34, North Korea also received a small number of IS-2 heavy tanks. These massive vehicles were designed to break through fortified positions. Armed with a powerful 122mm gun, the IS-2 was intimidating in appearance and destructive in firepower. In reality, its numbers were limited, and its impact on the Korean War was more symbolic than decisive. Still, the IS-2 introduced North Korean planners to the concept of heavy breakthrough tanks, an idea that would influence later designs. T-54. After the Korean War, North Korea focused on rebuilding and modernizing its armored forces. The T-54 marked the next step forward. Compared to earlier tanks, it offered improved armor protection, better crew layout, and more advanced fire control for its time. It became one of the most widely used tanks in the world during the Cold War. For North Korea, the T-54 represented a shift from wartime improvisation to structured armored forces. T-55. Closely related to the T-54, the T-55 became even more important. It introduced better protection against nuclear, biological, and chemical threats, an important consideration during the Cold War. Its reliability and simplicity made it ideal for mass deployment. North Korea imported large numbers of T-55s and later began local maintenance and modification programs. This tank would form the backbone of North Korean armored units for decades. T-62. The T-62 marked a significant leap in firepower. Its 115mm smoothbore gun was a major upgrade, capable of defeating most contemporary armor. It also featured a lower profile and improved protection compared to earlier models. North Korea adopted the T-62 as its primary main battle tank during the height of the Cold War. More importantly, the T-62 became the foundation for North Korea's first true domestic tank designs. Chonma-ho. The Chonma-ho series represented North Korea's transition from importer to producer. Based heavily on the T-62, the Chonma-ho was assembled domestically using foreign components and local manufacturing. At first glance, it closely resembled its Soviet ancestor. But its production marked a critical milestone. North Korea could now build tanks on its own soil. This was as much a political achievement as a military one. Chonma-ho 2. The second iteration brought minor improvements. Armor protection was enhanced, and small changes were made to crew ergonomics and survivability. While these upgrades were incremental, they showed a growing confidence in domestic engineering. The Chonma-ho 2 was less about innovation and more about sustainability. North Korea was learning how to keep tanks running without relying entirely on foreign suppliers. Chonma-ho 3. With the Chonma-ho 3, changes became more visible. Additional armor packages began appearing, including applique armor and early reactive armor blocks. Fire control systems were also improved, though still lagging behind Western standards. This version reflected lessons learned from observing global conflicts rather than fighting in them. Chonma-ho 4. The Chonma-ho 4 continued the pattern of incremental upgrades. More reactive armor, external fuel tanks, and improved optics appeared. From the outside, these tanks began to look more modern, even if their internal systems remained conservative. This version emphasized survivability over mobility. Chonma-ho V. The final major Chonma-ho variants pushed the design as far as it could go. Heavier armor packages, improved night fighting capabilities, and modernized communication systems were added. By this point, the Chonma-ho platform had reached its practical limits. North Korea needed a new design. Pokpung-ho Storm Tiger. The Pokpung-ho, often called Storm Tiger, represented North Korea's attempt at a next-generation main battle tank. Drawing inspiration from later Soviet designs and possibly Chinese technology, it featured improved armor layout, a more modern turret, and better firepower. Externally, it appeared significantly more advanced than earlier tanks. Internally, however, it remained constrained by industrial and technological limitations. Still, the Pokpung-ho marked a clear evolution beyond the Chonma-ho lineage. Sungun 915. The Sungun 915 emerged as both a tank and a message. Heavily armored and visually imposing, it was designed to project strength during military parades. Advanced features such as missile launchers, reactive armor arrays, and modern optics were displayed prominently. How many of these systems are fully functional remains uncertain. The Sungun 915 reflects North Korea's emphasis on deterrence through appearance as much as capability. M2020 Cheonma-2. The most recent and most mysterious tank is often referred to as the M2020 or Cheonma-2. Unveiled during parades in the 2020s, it features a radically redesigned turret, modern reactive armor, advanced optics, and what appears to be an active protection system. Its design suggests influence from modern Russian and Western tanks, at least visually. Whether it matches those tanks in performance is unknown, but its appearance signals North Korea's intent to remain relevant in armored warfare. Specialized and modified tanks. Beyond main battle tanks, North Korea has modified many vehicles for specialized roles. Command tanks, engineering variants, and recovery vehicles based on existing platforms are believed to exist. These variants rarely appear publicly, but are essential to sustaining armored operations. Doctrine and reality. North Korean tank doctrine emphasizes mass, concealment, and defensive depth. Tanks are intended to operate in coordination with infantry, artillery, and fortified positions. Because of terrain and resource constraints, mobility and logistics remain challenges. Training and fuel availability also limit large-scale armored maneuvers. The role of secrecy. Unlike most nations, North Korea reveals its tanks primarily through parades. This creates uncertainty. What is real capability, and what is staged demonstration? Some tanks may exist in limited numbers. Others may be prototypes rather than frontline vehicles. This ambiguity is intentional. From Soviet-built war machines to domestically produced symbols of defiance, North Korea's tanks tell a story of adaptation under isolation. They are not the most advanced tanks in the world. They are not the most numerous. But they reflect a nation determined to maintain armored power. Despite sanctions, shortages, and secrecy, each generation shows evolution. Not always in technology, but in intent. And that makes North Korean tanks some of the most intriguing armored vehicles on Earth.